Have you ever found yourself having a great game and then you see a wingman and even though you feel good about your guns, pick it up anyway? Have you ever cringed when you've watched some gameplay from that stupid guy named Rainday Gaming because he didn't pick up his teammates mid-fight? Well, there are a lot of things like that in Apex Legends that may look one way on the surface but may not give you the same impact when you actually do them. Listen, I'm here to tell you it's not your fault. A lot of the communities in gaming develop these ideas, but they're not really good for you. And so today we're going to take a look at my 10 most important misconceptions and myths, and we're going to talk about whether those things hold up or whether we should reconsider the way we've been thinking. It should be really informative and it should be also very interesting and intriguing even for new or advanced players, and I hope you share your comments with me down below. If I missed something, maybe we can make another video, or maybe the comment section will give you some more info that I couldn't. I mean, do not hesitate to comment mid-video, pause it, and continue watching later, or to leave a like or a dislike. Let me know why if you do or do not enjoy it so I can improve my content. Now let's get into the first point, the first myth in Apex Legends, and that is reviving my teammates at any point in time is a great idea. I'm not gonna make that noise for every single one because that would get annoying, but this is a myth. Now, a lot of people kind of brought this to my attention when they were commenting, ragging on me, just absolutely getting on me in the comment section for my latest video talking about the future of Apex Legends. Now, remember, every single thing I'm gonna say has some type of situational exception. There are always exceptions to rules, but my biggest concern is that people understand this idea that when you revive your teammate mid-fight, you are giving the enemy an essential cue to come attack you while you are vulnerable. Now, I see why this is a big misconception because it feels like you're being a bad teammate, but in the footage that you're seeing below, there is a third person who I have heard footsteps of. Obviously, you guys do not see the sound, you don't know what's going on, but what I can tell you is that I have heard footsteps. That's why I throw a thermite grenade. Why would I do that? So I know the fight is coming up. Rather than try to get my teammates down, who's already pretty much dead, I'm not even sure if I can get to them in time, I'm trying to loot the bodies around me so I can be as healthy as possible to win the upcoming fight. Once that happens, I can get everybody's banner, I can revive anyone who's been knocked down, and we can go ahead and win the game from there. Now, I'm going to show you another clip of me doing your advice, and this is what happens. I want you guys to watch what's going on here. Basically, there's a fight where my teammates are getting downed before I am. They don't really have an awareness of the situation, and the most important thing is that I do. I have the high ground, I have a good spot, and what happens is my teammates get downed consistently. Now, I have a decision-making here process to say, do I go ahead and revive them mid-fight and give my enemies an audio cue that I am vulnerable, not be able to see where they're coming because I'm locked in the position of my camera to reviving my teammate, or do I try and win the fight? Now, in this situation, I try to revive mid-fight and our entire team gets wiped. In the other situation, I did not revive anyone. I finished that fight, and then my entire team was able to get respawned, and we were able to go ahead and continue trying to win the game. You tell me what's better. Listen, if I get downed, I try to expect my team to go and finish the fight and get me up afterwards, even if it means getting my banner. You guys have to accept this as Apex Legends players and move forward with it. If you hold on to the mentality that you must revive someone the second they go down, no matter what situation is upon you, you're going to keep dying again and again and again. Moving on to number 2. Man, if you see a wingman, pick that ish up, or insert any other top tier gun in the game. Listen, the wingman is a great gun, but this is a myth because if you cannot hit your wingman shots, it's not a great gun for you. A lot of people consider the Wingman, the Peacekeeper, the R99, sometimes even the EVA 8 Auto, the R301, the Spitfire to be the best guns in the game, and yes, they are at max value, but if you can't max it out, why would you use that? It's like trying to tell somebody to drive a Lamborghini down a 10-mile-an-hour road in school time. They're not going to be able to max out that engine. There's no reason to try to do that. You might as well ride a bike. I mean, you could probably go faster and travel farther in that time than in the bumper-to-bumper traffic and the low mile-per-hour speed limit. Dude, how could this guy pick up a Prowler instead of a Wingman? Get out of my recommendations, noob. I'm just going to go watch Dizzy. I mean, shoot, I'm going to watch Dizzy too, but that doesn't mean that it's not the right decision making. Guys, you cannot go for what you think is perfect unless you can maximize it. A lot of people miss all of their R99 shots, so the R301 or the alternator are actually better choices for them, and this is something that you have to be aware of. People do the right things for the right moments. Don't try to play it into somebody else's meta. If you can't hit your shots on the Wingman ain't that good. Simple. That's a myth. Moving on to number 3. SkullTown is a high tier loot zone. Myth. SkullTown is actually not a high tier loot zone, although it is the most popular place to land in Apex Legends. items. I talk about this in my actual like ranking and explaining every location in Apex Legends video, which is really great if you're new and you don't know the map. I basically cover all the areas except like Repulsor. I don't know why I forgot that. And maybe one more. But it's a great place to land. But people think that it's high tier loot, and it's not. It's actually mid tier. Now, there's so much loot in SkullTown, and it's so big, and the fights are still fun, that it shouldn't discourage you from dropping there. But if you think you're gonna grab that, you know, golden Havoc or golden R301, you're probably not. The chances of getting the best loot in SkullTown are relatively low, but the chances of getting a lot of loot in SkullTown are pretty high, just because it's very big. There's a lot of buildings, and over the surface area of the location, there is a lot to do. Number 4, weapons are either good or bad. There's no in between. Myth, come on, you guys already know this is a myth, but a lot of people surprisingly still will bash on the RE45. They'll still bash on the alternator, and the reason is they don't understand that when these weapons scale up with their attachments, they can be absolutely nutty. In fact, I want to throw some footage underneath what you're watching right now of me using the RE45. I actually got an extended mag with this, and I got a really nice barrel stabilizer, and I thought, you know, what if I try an RE45 challenge where I use this gun to win and try to win a game with it and with it only, and it actually went way better than I thought. This gun is a beast when you have an extended mag. The amount of damage you can output is crazy and people don't expect it. It's one of those easier guns to get, and it's not that coveted, so people will always leave it for you, or it will be accessible, and if you find the right attachments, it can be awesome. We have to realize that guns can be fully upgraded to the point where they actually become a different tier of weapon. A Havoc by itself versus a Havoc with a turbocharger. You have to weigh your odds, and if you have a fully upgraded R99 but a basic Havoc, obviously you're going to go for the R99, but if you have a basic R99 and a Havoc with the turbocharger, a ton of energy ammo, and really nice barrel stabilizers, maybe that tilts you that way. These guns are flexible. Your mentality should be too. Number 5, my teammate had like 50 damage. He didn't do anything that game. Misconception. Now, honestly, this is, there's some truth to the 50 damage. 50 damage is not a lot, but a lot of times you'll end games with 400, maybe 800 damage, and someone else will have 2,000. You might have a lot of kills, you might have no kills, and they'll look at you and say, man, I did everything that game. Not true at all. Apex Legends is a team-based game. You can have a lot of impact on the match without doing thousands and thousands of damage. And oftentimes, a lot of the damage that people come from is from finishing down opponents. I know a lot of people with a ton of kills, and their first priority in a fight is just to finish me off before even finishing my teammate who is up, alive, and ready to finish them. So a lot of times you'll see damage numbers are inflated because they're on downed opponents. That's cool with me, but it doesn't tell the whole story if someone has a ton of damage, and it's not telling you why they maybe you to be able to get that damage, or maybe why your ability saved people in the fight, or why your ultimate zoned out the final team and allowed that guy who was really good to be able to have the impact he did. There's so many other factors that you should not take for granted what your teammates do for you, especially if you get that win at the end. Number 6, the weapons in the meta are the best weapons to use. Myth. Now, I know a lot of people are already aware of this because of what I said with the RE45 and the attachments, but the R99, R301, Peacekeeper, the shotgun kind of machine gun meta that we're currently in, Spitfire, like I'll mention that, typically are the best weapons, but some people cannot use those weapons at all. Remember R99, sometimes it's a missing bullets simulator and you don't get any value. I'd much rather see somebody use a triple take, even an EVA 8. I mean, let's even look at an RE45. If you can hit that, or a P2020, that's going to be more valuable for you than using these meta weapons and not being successful. You may find that somebody plays a gameplay or plays on your team with these weird weapons and you're like, oh, they suck? No, they may just prefer this. Maybe they come from a game where that aim is trained. I know if you're from Counter-Strike, your Deagle aim, your P2020 is going to be a lot better than mine, but maybe I'm a little bit better at some of the machine gun kind of training and aiming that I'm more used to. All of these things help to define a player and a play style, and that's what's great about Apex Legends. Everyone can play a little differently. Number 7, all legends are created equal. Myth. Now, I know that this is a little complicated, but all legends are not created equal. We've seen it statistically that other legends, like the Wraith, like the Lifeline, have higher winning percentages at all levels than things like the Gibraltar, Caustic, and Pathfinder. Now, what's interesting about this, if you're not aware of how kind of levels and player skill skews, is that when you get to the highest level, there are 2 factors involving someone having a high skill rate as a champion. All right, so the first principle is that the higher level players play the better legend. So, and you scale up in skill when you have a Dizzy or a Shroud and they play Wraith all the time, Wraith as a champion at the higher levels will skew as far as being a more competitively viable legend. And the same thing can be said on the other side. If a lot of people gravitate towards Gibraltar or Caustic as a newer player, then you're going to see those legends have a decreased win rate, because not only are they being played by newer players, because they're newer players, they're losing more, so thus their win rate is correlating with that. Fun fact, since I've been in the dev side of a lot of video games at this point in my life, working at a video game company in esports and helping with the balancing decisions of our games, I found that when you look at the statistics, when a champion gets a buff, a lot of the high-level players actually switch over to that champion knowing that it's good. Subsequently, it then drives up the win rate of that champion, not only because of the buff, but because the better players are playing it. So I always realized that a great Caustic could defy the odds of the win rate and maybe actually provide more to the team than a mediocre Wraith. So keep that in mind next time you're playing. Number 8. The more loot I have, the more likely I am to win the next fight. Yikes. No, no, no. This is a big myth, and I want to tell you why. A lot of people don't realize that Apex Legends has a kind of power curve, where in the early parts of the game, everyone is looting and no one has anything. Finding shields are less likely, and also finding weapons, and especially really good weapons. The longer you loot, the more that power curve, if you get an advantage, actually starts to even out for people, because they do cover more of the land, they check more houses, and they get more equivalent gear. If you drop immediately, find a white shield and a peacekeeper, and you know everyone else is running around trying to just find a gun, you should stop looting and start fighting. If you kill that one person, you can maybe kill the entire team, you can get all of the loot they've uncovered, and maybe it's not a lot individually for each player, but it's a lot collectively. So then you get even better looted. You stay above the next power curve of the next town, you can rotate and do the same thing over there. Listen, it doesn't always work like this on paper, but I see a lot of my teammates land, grab a blue shield, grab a great gun, and then be running around looking for more loot. I'm like, dude, I hear shots, let's go. We can win this fight. We should press the advantage and get rid of this team while we can, because who knows if we can if they get fully looted. Number 9. Oh, that dude's a Gibraltar or a Caustic or a Pathfinder. That'll be an easy fight. Myth, because you know why? Maybe their team composition is better than you think. This is a game about playing together as a unit, not just solo individual performances. I've seen some of the best players get downed by a coordinated unit or a team that just happens to be able to buy themselves a little bit more time. Holding up in a building isn't always the best decision, as you can see with some of the Caustics that you play against, but it sometimes can be the difference between winning a fight. Do not underestimate people because of the champion or the legend that they're using. Instead, give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Expect that they're the best version of that legend that can ever be played in Apex Legends, and you'll probably come out on top in the fight just because you've given them the warranted respect. Otherwise, you're gonna have Gibraltar sitting on that face. You know, that actually got sexual. I didn't mean to make that happen. And finally, number 10, to finish off our first top 10 myths and misconceptions video, leaving right after you get knocked down is okay. I'll admit it, y'all, I've done it. I've done it, damn it. I'm guilty, and so are you, because I know you've done it as well. But it's not okay. We cannot allow ourselves to be that greedy. This is a team game, and oftentimes it is a big myth to think that it's cool to just dip out the second you get knocked. You don't know why that teammate wasn't there. They could be doing something that I was doing, like doing their own fight, and they're going to try and win the entire match and grab your banner. Give somebody the ability to succeed, you know, and to reach your expectations and maybe exceed them. Don't expect everyone to fail, to expect not to give your back. It's not a good thing in gaming. It's not a good thing in life. It's hard for us to give of ourselves because we don't know if we're going to get anything back. This goes for every aspect of life and in gaming. If you wait 2-3 minutes and watch your banner just die after you've been knocked down and that teammate just runs the opposite direction, you know, you wasted your time. That's not fun. We're playing games. We don't have all day to do it, like, unlike most streamers. So at the end of the day, I can see why people leave. But if you do stay, you give people the opportunity to surprise you and to make you a happy person because you gave them the benefit of the doubt and they actually came through. And that's a really good feeling that you don't always get. And it's something that I encourage all of us to do to create goodwill within this Apex Legends community within a game that we all want to succeed. More importantly, if you keep leaving, you just get into a cycle of playing for yourself, not playing the team game Apex Legends is, not utilizing the team mechanics like respawning and getting revived like Apex Legends has encouraged into its gameplay, and you also just probably set yourself on a cycle of getting more and more pissed off the more and more it happens. Now, those are all the myths and misconceptions I have in Apex Legends for now, and if you have any others, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and the best way to support me is, of course, to subscribe. That lets me know that you like what I'm doing and you want some more of it. If you want to support me at an extra level, make sure to check out my t-shirts, KRB. I think you'll really like it. I have all versions of them, and they are actually dope. I wouldn't tell you if they weren't. And if you want to support the channel like you do some of your favorite Twitch streamers, consider consider subscribing. I travel a lot. I have a full-time job at a gaming studio as an esports broadcaster as well, so I can't always make videos. That really helps to support me and the channel to keep making great content and also take a few days off. Plus, we have our members-only live stream coming up this weekend, and you also get some special emotes. You get discounts on merch, so it all goes hands in hand. So hopefully you guys enjoy that one. Either way, most importantly, I appreciate you watching, sharing, and supporting the channel. As always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time.